All right, Ashley. We're live. Let me get
How
this
are
here
you
face.
today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm all right. I can't complain. It's just hot.
Right. So, what do you have on your mind before I start on mine?
No, you go ahead and start. I'll chime in. I've been just working on protecting my peace, honestly.
Um, so I saw some people really actually posting on that and on YouTube protecting your peace, and they were saying to protect their energy. And that's deep because you got to do some things to know how to protect your energy. But okay, in the likeness, give them something to talk about is what the topic is.
Right.
Give them some. I added you, Nye, and you could have went on without a screen if you wanted to. I sent you a link, but give them something to talk about, because that's what they're gonna do regardless. Whatever you do, people are gonna talk. It takes me to Deuteronomy um, 5, and in the commandments, this word says commandment. Yep, go get it. Look on your messenger screen if you want to come on with us, because you and Ashley got that gift for gab. But look,
You
and
too, Miss Kim. You too.
you bring in the hot topic. So go to your messenger night and you'll find the link. However, give them something to talk about because in the commandments, not because of the commandments, but as they talk about you, what's going to happen is when they awaken, they'll see that they were talking about themselves. This here is a lateral type of thing that happens to everyone because of the lack of consciousness and not being awake. And so when you give people something to talk about generally, that means that you know you're doing something. You give them what they like. That means that what they like is to have something to talk about. And to me, I bring in topics like this here. This here is Gemini, and it is Hermes. He is Hermes by name of a spiritual or deity from the Greek pantheon. This is Zeus's son. And so when I give him something to talk about, I want people to know that you can study long, but you can study wrong. And when I say study long and study wrong, what I mean is that you've been studying everything that people tell you to study, but you're afraid to step out and study what you may have even dreamt about. Now, when you go to the doctors, this here is a symbol that is on pharmacies, and it's also on doctors, um, their certifications or their graduate diplomas, their licenses, um, so on and so forth, because it's the caduceus. It is an insignia of medicine. Now, if this is a Greek god, why does he have it in his hands? Now, me, I'm a Christian, but I'm going to keep it real. I'm a Christian that's going to keep it real, and I ain't hiding behind the word. The logos is what it is. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word is God. But there are some things that ain't discussed about other aspects of God, such as where did God come from and who created God, right? So Jesus is the Christian um, logos, but Jesus, the body of the man, is not the logos, it's the spirit within him, right? And this is where we have to go back into the word and understand. Now, the revelation of wisdom that comes to some people is different from others, right? And why is it different? Because according to I guess your desire to know the truth. You know, where Jesus told the people that you will know the truth and the truth will make you free. You know, a lot of times I believe when people go to church, they don't understand what freedom really is. Now, you do need to go into the spirit to become free, but what happens to many people is when they come back, they maintain what's familiar to them. The other thing is that they study what others give them rather than studying what maybe God has given them. So if you really thought about, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free, but you continue to just think about those words, what happens is one day you're going to say, voila, wow, there's going to be an epiphany. What's going to be the epiphany? There's going to be a freedom that your mind experiences as well as your heart that is not lateral and conducive to what people have taught you. You also find that you don't have to study only what people tell you to study, as in when you go and you're on a podium with individuals, or someone is preaching or teaching to you from a podium. You don't have to just study exactly what they're saying. Let the word lead you to the truth, right? Because Paul, over and over again, Paul told us that the letter kills, but the spirit brings life. And if we could sit down and really think about some important facts when we are wherever we are, let's just say that, because it's hard to wake up without being broken. I mean, there's people that are depending on their lights to be taken care of and not be turned off right now, and they're praying. And I'm not saying that God is not going to answer their prayer, but the brokenness comes when God says, let me take you a little higher and show you that I need for you to do some things. I need for you to study beyond what others are telling you. You see, because I've been there. I've been in a place where truly the word, it works. Because if it did not, I would not be able to tell you that this here Greek god has this here medicine symbol in his hand that many Christians are going to doctors for, and they don't know that it came from the Greeks. Now, when you go deeper, what you'll find is the Greeks will show you that the Egyptians had these symbols, okay? But I don't want to get you too messed up today. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are going to be saying that Kim is crazy. But in this time and season, I'm good with that, because I've been studying for a long time to get to this here place and say, well, if you think I'm crazy, why don't you try it for yourself? Go and look. And how about I challenge you a little bit more? Has nothing to do with saying that Christ is not the way. Christ shows you the way. But you get hooked on what people is telling you about Christ, and you don't even see that Apollo and Diana is there. Okay, Kim, why are you pointing this out to me? Because you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Where is the bondage at for us? Where is it? It is here because we've been taught what people have been taught, and it keeps going on. By the way, we're being taught what people are being taught, and it ain't working for some of us. Yeah? Ashley, you want to add to that?
I just wanted to agree fully because we get so bound and so trapped in what our parents say, what the pastor says, what the reverend says, what the deacons told us, what the evangelist is saying, and then when you bring questions, they tell you,
says, what the reverend says,
mm-mm.
what the deacons told us, what the evangelist is saying.
So then you end up just believing what everybody's told you, and then it's you have experiences or you read something else and you're like, well, how can this be true if what they told me was true? Who's telling me the truth? You have to find the truth within yourself. But you also have to you have to know that your mind is going to trick you. Your mind is going to tell you, nope, that's a lie. Nope, nope, that's not what you've been taught. But then you have to question it and say, who's in control? Are you going to let your mind control you, or are you going to set your mind free? Hey, Nine.
Hey.
Now you're looking fabulous. You look like you're about 10 years old.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm aging backwards.
You sure are. Remind you of Benjamin Buttons, huh? Did you see
Mm-hmm.
that?
I did see Benjamin Buttons, yes.
Okay. So what you want to add here in that conversation?
I kind of got pieces of it, but one thing that you mentioned that that resonated with me was having your own experience as opposed to listening to what other people say. And I think that's something that I worked through in my own experiences, because people will have you believing their beliefs and thinking the way they do. And even though you have questions that they can never answer for you, they try, but they can't answer until you have your own experience of something. That's when you realize and know what the truth is for yourself. Um, so I have firsthand experience of this. I've had over the past couple of months dealt with a particular experience, and nobody can tell me or validate my relationship with God, the universe, whatever I choose to call it, because it's my truth, and they have not lived my truth or gone through the things that I have. So a lot of times people just hang on to traditions and never have their own experiences. And I think that's what makes the difference.
You said traditions, or say it again?
People hang on to traditions.
Traditions, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And you know what? That is like powerful, because yesterday I was texting with someone and the conversation was going in different ways, although it was very let me put this down. It was very informative, but the thing is that what I find is that we label each other, and it's predicated upon the tradition. The tradition becomes a religion, and people only look at the word religion in the context of when you go to church. Whatever you do that's religious is something that you do every day. Like you get up religiously and you wash your body. You wash your body. I was about to say something else. God help me. Because I get crazy like that, y'all know. But you wash your body every day. That's religious. But then there are some people that lie religiously. And so if you came to a place where you couldn't wash your body, it would become a problem because you're religious at it, right? And I
Right.
mean, really, homeless people experience this because some people that are homeless want to be clean, even though there's some that do not care about that, right? And, you hear me out, because we wash every day because we've been taught this. Back in the caveman time, there was no such thing as this, right? So we got to realize what we're taught and why we're taught. Now, I'm not saying that you should not wash, but what I'm saying is that if that is religious and a religion type of act, and it is, then that means that we can lie and gossip, and it becomes a religion act or religious act because we do it all the time unconsciously. You know that you go and bathe unconsciously because you want to smell good. We have the amenities of life, and then um, we get upset and we complain if something doesn't work out. But something may be in the twist of the theme to help us appreciate life on a more heightened level. all of us know here and others that watch, there's possibilities that many people have went through some unforeseen situations that we would say they should be grateful for, but they have to make their mind up predicated on what their heart is saying. And the heart says what we allow it to feel. Because we are born with lies, we feel to live in lies until we are broken from the lies, which brings me to just the topic of give them something to talk about. And what was that? Well, this morning I actually posted, Aphrodite. Let me see if I can get him back up there. Well, I put Aphrodite up there. And if I said to people that I was a historian, they would be okay. But if I tell them that I'm a pastor or a leader, then it's going to be, oh my God, she's worshiping idols. And no, everybody's not going to say that, but we know that because we come from the church of Christians that gossip and they characterize and ridicule you if you don't do what they do. I don't want to do what people do if they're going to stay the same. I don't even want to be familiar with the same type of mindset. I feel like that when I was born into something, I should grow and evolve beyond it. And that does not have to say that that I don't pray or that I don't meditate. What it says is that I look beyond what people think I should do and I do what God leads me to do. Period. Some things are not working for people because they're not growing beyond what was introduced to them. What was introduced to many of us is not working because the world needs for us to grow for it to get better.
Absolutely. And I think that going back to what you said about giving them something to talk about, oftentimes people will stunt their own growth because of what they think others are going to say, or think about what they're into. No, I can't pick up that astrology book because, my auntie is going to think I worship the devil. No, I can't pick up, talk about energy and this thing. It's just like people find comfort in always associating something with God. But if we already know that God, the universe, that energy created everything, why are people obsessed with always attaching the name with everything if it's already understood? You get what I'm saying? So it's just an interesting perspective. And I realized that a part of my journey and my growth has been to separate from what other people think and what, because growing up, from a child having different spiritual experiences, that's my experience. Like no one can validate that for me. No one can take that from me. Like no one, and I don't even get into it with people who try to challenge my relationship with a higher power, because you'll never understand. You'll never know unless you've been in my shoes what I know, what I have experienced. So it's just interesting. So yeah, give them something to talk about. I mean, they're talking anyway, so you might as well just live your life and do whatever you do, what's going to please your soul. So
Yes.
Interestingly enough, I just had a conversation about this. And the person was saying, that the other person is worried about their image. And I said, their image as it appears to who? And the person was explaining that they get frustrated with even trying to figure that out. And I said, sounds like a lot of fear. It sounds like they have these constructs that they're loyal to. And it might not be who they really are, but having to step out is scary. I'll tell you, having to step out and be different, my sisters, my friends look at me like, You crazy. I'm like, that's fine. I could be crazy right over here in my own world. You can take part or not. So, and the person was saying, would you rather fear staying complacent or losing and like losing everything or changing? And I said, at its basis, fear is fear. So one doesn't outweigh the other. You just have to decide that you don't want to be afraid anymore. So, in the idea of give them something to talk about, let them talk about your image. Let them talk about what you got going on. Because at the end of the day, they're doing it anyway. Like you said, they're going to talk. So would you rather them talk and be saying something that's not true, or talk about what you're actually doing?
Absolutely. And you know what? One thing I will say is that, when you reach a point in your life where you are committed to being free no matter what, nothing else ends up mattering to you. So, I'm the type of person, like, my freedom is so crucial to me, inner freedom, that yes, I will pick up a book to learn about something. I will seek more information. Oh, this is not giving me enough information over here. Well, then I'm going to go and look over here. And guess what? Those things free me up because it brings you to a heightened state of consciousness. You learn more things that you didn't even know, things that no one taught you. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think people really need to decide whether you want to stay stuck or you want to free yourself. And freeing yourself could be just allowing yourself to seek other information. It doesn't mean that you have to how can I say, go out there and tell the world everything that you're learning, but it could just be for you and your own understanding. And I think another thing that a lot of, I'll say Christians, I grew up in a Christian family, is that a lot of Christian people don't understand that there's freedom in Christ.
Now tell your version of why you feel that way.
Of why I feel that, again, I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier about tradition. Why would Christ want you to be so restricted, to feel so restricted by following him, her, that energy? You know what I mean? Why is there restriction there? So you can't be yourself. You can't honor who you are in order to follow this way of life. Like, that to me sounds like bondage to me. And I don't think that is the foundation that Christianity or many religions are founded upon, or is it?
So what
I don't
happens
think it is.
What you're saying is very true, but it's back to give them something to talk about, because what most people don't do is study to find that Christianity is the youngest religion that there is. If it's young, then that means that it is posed off of other religious foundations. And because of that, I think about my people perish because they lack knowledge. And even with us discussing this today, this is one of the issues. I bring it up, and if someone says, well, you know what, I've studied these here individuals for a long time, and studying them took me back to Egypt, where the information that we've been given in the Bible says that they were the Egyptians were not good people. That's what it poses. So that means that there's a subconscious there's subconscious information that's being given to certain people, especially because Egyptians come from an area that is linked to certain people. And I'm saying it like that. And I want people to say, okay, is she being funny or what? I really am. Because Egypt has a foundation for the people that we know in this here place, although there's diversity there, right? The point is that when you study history, you don't have to be religious. You can be religious about studying to find out the truth, but you're going to go back and find that the truth is going to set you free in Egypt. And then Egyptian qualities and time and understanding is going to take you deeper. But it's up to us to be open. Because if I said that China has no foundation or information for us, that would be a lie. Kuan Yin comes from there. We have deities that come from all over the world. Because we did not experience them does not say that we hold the monopoly on information concerning what religion is best. Number one, the religion is studied according to where you are born. You decide whether to keep it or leave it. That's what happens. That's an open-minded person. I know that there's a lot of people that are in the box. Oh, you know, a friend and I watched Black Box. Felicia Rashad was in it. I don't know if y'all watched it, but even according to what we're talking about, because all of this is subconscious programming that says you cannot study other things outside of your community. If you don't study outside of your community, and I live in the ghetto, I'm not going to get out. If I only go to the church that I was born at, and listen, I don't want to twist nobody's arms and say that you need to go to another church. What I want to tell you is that you have the right to do whatever you want to. You don't have the right to ridicule other people and talk about them because they're not in the mass structure with you. Masses are about sheep kind of stuff. And I teach the people that I work with, such as y'all, that's that dumb stuff. It ain't none but dumb, because if you can't go outside of your profession and find yourself working to help in a way that serves outside of your profession in a building, then you're stuck in a box. Do you understand? If you have a profession and you can't take it out to serve someone or find a way to serve others, even if you're an electrician, if you work with electronics, if you are a spokesperson, if you, whatever, I mean, you can just think about it. If you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, people begin to do things differently when COVID came in, but they were motivated through a crisis. Why is this? You know, it's okay that the crisis came. Now I'm going to go and change the structure and even begin to work online, which was coming before COVID came. But my thing is this here. Why can't we change our minds, not being like inconsistent or not having structure? Why can't we change our minds for evolution's sake? Oh, if I say evolution as a Christian, because I've been to church, and I have been told that is not the way of Jesus. What do you really know about Jesus? Have you met him? Because I ain't met him personally. I'm like Paul. I didn't walk with the disciples during that time. I read the Bible and I pulled out of it what I see now, not conducive to my needs, because I went without and suffered. Just like a disciple, or even just like a prophet. I went without, I've had losses. But during the losses, what was my encouragement? Christ. The truth will make you free. Well, what is your truth when you're going through crisis and you have nothing but bills because you created them due to a construct you live in, due to parents that have taught you this? Now, that's not to say that my parents are bad. Get to the place. Let them have something to talk about. Something to talk about is when you're able to take the word and see that he turned water into wine. Therefore, you follow in line and you do not remain to be a poor-minded person. Because you came out of the loins of poor or a poor community, you keep going to the same places. That's familiar spirits. I hear people talking about familiar spirits. They done did all of this research on demonic activity, but what? Let me ask you something. Is everybody in your church rich now? Are they rich in spirit? You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, you know what? I don't have the biggest house in the world, but I tell you what, I got the biggest heart. No one have to tell me that, because see, I sat down for a while. I was put in a pit to transform myself. Oh, you don't know, you don't get to pass go. Give them something to talk about when you come out. If they talk about you because you rescind and you say, oh, I'm not a part of the masses anymore. Oh, no, I'm not a part of the masses. I'm not doing that. Why? Because the masses are still in the same place. They waiting on a leader to show them the way. How about the leader in you? God is in you. You mock every word that God has said in the Bible, such as the kingdom of God lives within you. What happened to that? Or do you have to wait on someone that has become the priest or has the priesthood over them to tell you that you have the kingdom within you? No, the word is free. Because if you go and buy a Bible right now and you don't have one, it's going to tell you that the kingdom of God is within you. Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom. He didn't tell us to seek people. So when I look at this here, and I say, open up your eyes and begin to research all through the Bible, you're going to see other cultures there. Don't just skim over it. To look for what someone else is telling you. Look for what God would want you to know so you would become free. Because bondage is whenever you can't see the truth. And the Bible is revelatory. Yes, it is. But what is revelation if it can't unlock the key, the doors of your mind and your soul? What is revelation for you? Hey, what is revelation for you? When the church of Philadelphia is said to be the church that Jesus loved or the Christ loved, what is it to you? When you can't solve a problem and you go to church every Sunday, what is it to you?
It's a story. It's a story to most people, I think. Fictional characters not really knowing that the characters are you. It's you. And the kingdom is within you. You know, you mentioned prosperity in different churches, and that was one of the points that I had written down to mention, because in terms of mindset and people staying in situations, because you have those churches that are prosperity churches where everyone is thriving, doing well, and then you have those other churches that it's just traditional. You get up, you sing, you have the deacons come or whatever, just the mundane things. And then it's just like, as a church goer of that church, like at any point do you say, you know what, this is not feeding my spirit, and go seek something else? It's the same thing with seeking other information. Like you said, Ms. Kim, that has a basis in the Bible, being that Christianity is the youngest religion. So like you said, it's based off of others. So when do you say, you know what, this is not feeding me? I know it's something here maybe for me, but I'm just not getting, and go seek for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. See?
So just to go back to something, yesterday I had an experience with a gentleman. He stopped by the house because he wanted to, it's election time in my town. So he wanted to talk to me about voting. And he handed me the paper and he was like, "Can we count on your vote?" And I was like, "No, I don't vote, sir." And he looked at me almost astonished, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't participate." And he said, "Okay, if you did vote, could we count on your vote?" And I said, "No, I don't vote because I don't, contribute to a governmental system that is not designed to empower minorities." I said, as a double minority, being a woman and being Black, I don't see a system in place that uplifts me, puts me in a predicament to get ahead. I don't see somebody who actually looks like me in that system doing anything for me. So he said, okay. He was like, my young sister, I appreciate you. And I appreciate this conversation. I said, I appreciate your time. I'm going to give this information to my mother because she does vote. She's a voter. And he said, can I ask you another question? Did you vote when Obama was running? I said, I did. And I said, you want to know something? Had I been educated enough, I probably wouldn't have. I said, and that's the problem with people today. We don't get educated. I said, we saw Barack Obama. Oh, my president is black. Well, what did he do for you? Are you in any better circumstance? So your mind told you, I see someone that looks like me. But what you didn't see was the system was still in place, designed to work against you. And if you're not paying attention to that, you're like, oh, he's going to advance me. He's going to do so much. Just like now, everybody's like, oh, Biden's going to cancel student loans. That happened yet? He already had his first 100 days, y'all. Oh, Biden said he was going to give me $2,000. I think Trump gave you 6 and he only gave you 14. So where was the truth in that? You have to pay attention to what you're being told and about what the systems in place are given to you. Just like with a religion. What is that religious system in place giving to you? Is it giving you that freedom that you're looking for? If so, more power to you. Keep it up. But if it's not, what do you do then? You just keep going to church on Sunday and Bible study on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, attending, giving your tithes, and just hoping, because we're not in the time of name it and claim it, right, anymore, Miss Kim? That's over. So if you're still looking to name it and claim it, baby, what you naming and claiming? Familiar? Complacency?
Yeah, your past. Yeah, you looking at the past works. You're not looking at how to work the future, which has to do with, y'all know I talk about Luke 22, the Waterbearer. And the Waterbearer is who Jesus sent the disciples to. He said, look for the man with the water pitcher. And in different renditions of the Bible, you're going to find that it might be the water bearer or it's going to be the pitcher, because he's pouring something out. And it's very connected to the apostolic movement. I believe that we've had parts of the apostolic movement, but we didn't understand a lot of deep aspects of what would get us to a fluid apostolic movement, which is the water bearer, which is the one that Jesus was sending them to. There would be no end to the fluid of that movement, because that movement would be the beginning of a radical change of energy that people would take on. And it's like the anointing. When the people would pray for you, the anointing would break the yokes. But why did the people fall back into the yoke of the enemy? Okay, so why would they fall back into the yoke of the enemy? And a lot of people, they don't want to get into this here conversation, but the conversation is real. It's not to say that Christ was never real. The teachings are there, but people didn't understand the climate of the teaching. And when I say climate, I mean heaven and hell is not outside of you. Heaven and hell is within us. The kingdom is within you. Then that means that you're responsible for your actions. Maybe you're unconscious, subconscious, but see, we can go deeper on that unconscious and subconscious, because we know where the unconscious it lives. It's in the 12th house of the zodiac sign, which is Pisces. My people perish because they lack knowledge and they stay in one vicinity. That's cool if you want to stay there. But I tell you what, if I look at my astrological chart, I'm going to go a little bit further for the reasons of, and I find that I have energy in the 12th house. That's the house of karma and darkness, because the Piscean age is what Christ was fighting for people to get free from. Darkness, by the way. When you look outside, yeah, it ain't dark. But the energy of of we that live is dark. And you know, people get offended when you tell them the truth. I ain't no devil. I ain't dark. Well, who is the devil? And who is God? Especially when he created Adam and Eve to be prototypes of himself. See, I'm gonna tell you, give them something to talk about. When I was younger, all of this stuff was bothering me. And I would get older. In the last 10 years, I felt like I was leaving this earth because this information is here. So many people out there have the same information and they're afraid to talk about what we're talking about because of what people are going to say about them. I could care less what you say, because guess what? When I was down and out, you ain't do nothing for me. And I ain't saying it in an angry way. I'm emphasizing, because the power that I have and you have, and others that communicate and congregate with us is so different than what we came from. We don't have to be dictated by people or live in unhealthy situations. God truly has our back, because we had to believe on a level that others didn't. And I'm not going to take away somebody's belief system. I'm going to say that I believed so hard that I said, you know what? It ain't even worth me living in this here mess. I believe that you have got to take care of me. Because that where I am living, hey, no. See, I came in this world dealing with issues and living in what looked like to be the projects. But see, I got so much mental prosperity, and I've experienced it, that I know, well, you know what? If it ain't work here, God got to do it for me individually. I am out. I ain't got to suffer. I don't have to live unhappy. You said that you came that I would have peace and have life abundantly. I'm banking on that. And I ain't just banking on an outside experience. I'm banking on the fact that I get up every day and I pray and meditate. I ain't just started. I've seen your movement. And so that's what I'm going to use. I'm not going to nobody and ask them to pray for me. I ain't handicapped. I got to do this for myself. Because I've been in a place where I've been codependent in the years past, relying on people and believing in listen, I wanted to believe in our leaders. I wanted to. But I don't believe that anybody is going to lead you and your community out of hell, but you and the truth that makes you free. And that means that you got to get down in yourself and begin to look at what is really happening in your home, in your communities, in your cities and state. And then you give them something to talk about. Because as long as someone can become a president or a leader or political leader, my thing is, period, what are you doing for the people? And I'm not going to close my eyes to a jaded situation at this time in life and say that I just got to vote for somebody because my number is going to make a difference. You know what? My number is my Social Security number ain't made a difference in my money or my bank account. The only thing that's made the difference is the God that I serve. I said my Social Security number, it ain't made a difference. Therefore, the number of me being a part of a political system and the number to talk about somebody that's going to do something, and after the centuries from 1620, they ain't did nothing? Are you kidding me? No. You show me where my number is going to make the difference before I put it in. Because my faith is in God, the invisible, not in this world, which is external. Ain't showing you nothing. The rich keep getting rich and the poor keep getting poor. Now give them something to talk about. You know, and then, you know, when you want to come correct, come with the right information to correct. Because people ain't sitting around saying that they just want to be obstinate. People got information that's being ostracized because they got the truth in their mouth. And nobody wants the truth to be revealed. This was what Jesus was talking about. So when you start revealing the truth, then you got people coming at him talking about this is not, they're this and that. Cool. You stay there and watch the numbers of people that are dying even more. Because why do we have homelessness in America? Oh, I heard people saying, they need to work. They don't work. They don't do this and that. What happened to the people that are disabled? And the economy is throwing them under the bus. What's happening? Because I work in mental health, in the mental health field. Ain't no mercy for them. Ain't no mercy. Because even when the economy has beat down a child that just came in the world socially, economically, biologically, they're going through school and they graduating from the 12th grade, they're still living in impoverished community where drugs and stuff is going down. Y'all ain't looking at the fact that it's you that got to make that better. It's you and I. Because God gave us the power to tread down the lion, adder, and serpent. That's why you have so many radical upheavals going on right now, because people are sick of it. It's not that they don't believe. It was the time to come. God moved through people. And I'm not saying that I believe in the violence. What I'm saying is that people do not want to make life better. They don't even want to come together in their communities and help each other the way that it was back in antiquity. You ain't getting nothing or going nowhere without unity. And it's gonna start in your family and your community. It start with you first, because you can't be in unity with nobody if you ain't got unity within yourself. So where your boyfriend and your girlfriend, your husband at now? You ain't got no unity in yourself, but you got these children. So yeah, if you guys have anything else to add, go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and get off. I know that they have something to talk about here.
I'll just say that, for me, I understand that it's not for everyone to get at this time, and I'm able to keep that perspective. However, it is about respect, and opposed to self-righteousness. I think a lot of people, when they have a lack of understanding of a person or their perspective, they're easy to they easily like to attack those people, and it's just like, you can agree to disagree without being angry or holding anger. And I think nowadays people just are disrespectful across the board. Like you can't even, it's almost like, and it's so interesting because when I think about what's going on in the world, it's like you can't, for a lot of people, have your own mind and think your own thoughts without people wanting to attack you or ridicule you or drag you, and it's crazy. However, we've all been given our own minds to think, to use, to rationalize things, to think critically, to think independently. And I think people need to do more of that.
Yep.
And they don't do it, unfortunately. So many people don't do it. It's almost like uncool to think for yourself, because that means that you're not a part of the group anymore. If you're thinking over here and the group is thinking over there and you don't think like them, you can't tell them you don't think like them, or don't want to act like you don't think like them, because you'll be ridiculed. But it's just like, is that worth your bondage? Like, that goes back to freedom. It's just like, you want to be free or you want to be bound.
Yeah. Because I often go on those tangents saying, I'm wondering what people really think the Bible is saying when it says freedom, salvation.
Right.
And for the lack of knowledge, what we don't see is that the freedom that the Bible is speaking of is what we're talking about. Now, of course, it does have to do with consciousness. And that's why, you know, some of us are able to speak things that are very foreign to others and trigger them. You're triggered to get angry, but anger works as a positive conduit. Because it can make you have to shake off something that you couldn't get off of you, such as the devil. You know what I'm saying? Anger is not just about fighting. It's about getting so upset that you got to find the truth about what's being said. You're being provoked.
And something I just want to add, and something that someone might have given you that you didn't think for yourself, but someone gave you is implanted that thought.
Right. Yep. Right. And in that instance, then, because those thoughts were planted, you're going to begin to dig them up and say, you know, I got to find, you know, and that's what happens when you're being transformed. And I mean, what's happened all over the world, people are in transformations, but they're hindering themselves from coming out sooner. They're making things harder because they're looking at the way that they used to be. You'll never be the same again. How could you be the same when you have aged and become 80 years old? You still thinking like you 16 years old and you 80.
Right. And why would you want to? Why would you want to?
And I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Because I think about if I'm 57, yeah, I'll be 57. I'm not ashamed of that. People will tell me, oh, you shouldn't. You know what? Good on you that you think like that. I'm happy because I see all that I've been through. God ain't showing it. I'm thankful. Now, let someone repeat something that I said or did so that they can preserve their youthfulness. Now, it ain't in your external experience, it's in your prayer time. Because when you pray, God is in you and it becomes more prevalent. It shows itself over time. A person that is 80 years old and wants to be 16, that's a mental challenge. You know, if I'm my age and I want to be 16, that's a mental challenge. I love that I am my age because grace has given me information over time to help me to get better. Things that I did in my 20s that would have made me look like I was 60 years old at 20 possibly. Grace has given me a foundation to get better and to live mentally, physically, and spiritually better, and also pass it on to young women, which is what we should be doing. Yeah? So, yeah.
I think it ultimately comes up to, what are you going to feed? Are you going to feed yourself or are you going to feed everybody else? Are you going to stand out and strike a new path, or are you going to keep doing the same thing? Like, for example, there's an anti-Asian hate bill that's just recently been passed. Where is the anti-African American bill? But we can't talk about that part, right? Because then now, oh, you just hate white people. Now you're racist. How can I be racist when the racism was designed to put me at the bottom? That's not how that works. You gotta think outside yourself. You gotta think outside the box. You have to empower yourself through knowledge. If nothing else, my father gave me at a very young age, he said, actually, knowledge is power. And that is where you get your power and your freedom. The more you know, the less people can control you. So go ahead on and be the sheep. Go ahead on and be the sheep and let these people control you, because that's what they want.
Ooh.
And that's what they've been doing. They've been controlling you.
That's powerful.
That is so powerful. And because if you know, they could say you could trap your body, but you can't trap your mind. Like,
yeah.
You know, and it's just like, what is it worth to you? What is it worth to you to have your own thoughts and think independently? Like, you know what scares me? One of my biggest fears is leaving this earth and not having been true to myself. That's a scary thought to me.
Yes.
That's a scary thought to me. And that in of itself fuels me moving the way that I move and thinking the way that I think, because it's just like, you can't think for me. No one else can think for me, and because that feels restricting. And having grown past that as a child, yeah, people did think for me. People did do those things. I was codependent on certain relationships, but once you come out of that and you see, there's no going back.
Yeah. And
there's no going back
to that codependent aspect is finding yourself that's that Mercury energy, interdependent. That means that we enter into agreements and situations predicated on you and I and the group, the community, what is going to work for all of us included, right? Now, that's in your work profession, that's in your relationships, because, one of the issues with conformity is what it is that we don't talk about what we're going to do as independent people. It's not that we have to be independent and we don't need anyone. It is that we don't form interdependent relationships. And even, here we go again. And, we go back and we find ourselves living amiss as Christians because the Bible tells you be not conformed. Yet people do. It says not to be conformed to the ways of the world. After a certain point of time, if something hasn't worked, you need to look into it to find out how to help it reform itself, because reformation is what's needed here. This is going into another conversation. I don't want to stay there, but I had to bring the fact that many people, from the church had contacted me and told me what I should do about, the political issues. And I'm saying, really? Because here I'm giving you a scripture, be ye not conformed. Religious people are always going to conform because that's a part of politics. Religion is politics. Spirituality has nothing to do with politics. Jesus said, give Caesar what is due to him. But you gotta find out if you're living for Caesar or living for God. You see, this is why a lot of people have went and they began to live outside of the construct. They don't want to live in the world anymore. So they're starting to live off, what they call it. Y'all know, say it.
Off grid.
Yeah, they're living off grid. And the reason why is because they don't want to live in a conformed construct.
I just told a friend last night at dinner, I said, I'm just gonna go live in the woods. Yeah. And I think, what you said is right. Religion is politics, and it's so, you can look anywhere and see it, the manifestation of that, and just how people are letting the politicians dictate their lives, and how politics is working in conjunction with the church. And that in of itself puts my antennas up. You know what I mean? Like,
because what happened to separation of church and state?
And make agreements with churches to even get their parishioners to take a vaccine or what. That's weird to me. That's just weird to me.
Parishioners, okay, yeah. So you said church and state. What, Ashley?
We were supposed to have separation of church and state, right? You can't have religion in schools. If you want to do that, you have to become a private school. But now I see so many commercials about all these. Oh, I'm Reverend so and so, and I'm this so and so. and you need to get this vaccine. I need to do what?
That's
Why are you
just what
on a
they
commercial
told people.
advertising something?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Yeah,
This ain't right.
right. Not right, right? That's just what they told people. It was never, I don't think, separation between church and state. It was just the illusion of that. But
Yeah, I would I'm gonna say this here. There's a lot of history in this in this area that it would be very needful for us to go back and look at. And if we did, we would find information that's needed to move beyond all of what others tell us. Because at the end of the day, if I give anyone something to talk about, it's going to be based off of this and more. And they're going to talk about us, yes, because it's not what they believe in. I came to a place where I believe whatever you believe, and I let you believe that until you come and tell me something different, because it's respect. If there is a prostitute out on the street, I'm not going out there to pull her off of the corner. It's what she needs to do, maybe, to wake up. A lot of people don't look at life is what it is, and while you're doing it, it is doing something for you. They're looking at, I need to save you. I need to be a hero. No, you need to understand the dynamics of the universe. And I get it it may not be your way. It wasn't my way until God got me and dealt with me, because I was controlling too. I had the same mindset of the populace, which said, now that's a hoe out there, and she knows she need to be ashamed of herself. But I feel like at this time, God convicted me and said, who are you to judge? And with that being said, every man is free to do what he wants to do, because he was given a free will. And that means that whatever is not good and right, it's between him and his God. That's it. I have no judgment. Now, what I will talk about is when someone come into my life and they mess with some stuff of mine. Because see, this is me. I ain't coming to your house bothering you. And I ain't gonna call you, and I ain't gonna email you. I can use Facebook if I want to, because it's public. But I'm not gonna bother you about something that is supposed to be yours. I'm going to stay in my place, because you know what? The laws of repercussion come upon your life when you step over into people's lives and you start messing with stuff you ain't got no business. So I respect your space. I even respect people so much that, yeah, I'm going to agree to disagree. Or I'm going to keep my mouth shut sometimes about my opinion, because it may not be time. In a public structure, we have the right to speak what we want to, and that's why we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have newspapers, we have media. And if the media can go on and say whatever they want to without any kind of thought, we can, but we're not going to do that. We're going to give them the truth. So you go deep. And so maybe next week, Saturday or Sunday, we come back on and give them something else to talk about. Because you got to get into your communities. Why are they still in deprivation when you keep voting for people? And you got to tell me why I really should. You need to send me some papers to tell me that my vote really works, because I don't see that in the electoral system. And the fact of the matter that others created it tells me something else. I got to tell you that. And the reason why I bring that up is because the church is connected to it. They're always influencing you to do all of this stuff, and they're bringing the Bible into it. But it ain't helped our communities. Even right now, there's people in certain communities that didn't receive PPP money. They made it hard for certain people. Communities, EDL, they even said, they can, they'll get it into the low income areas or whatever. Listen, just go out there and give them the money. The first thing I remembered about all this money coming up, though, is that they said that we were in the United States was in a deficit. So where you get all this money from? See, I'm just saying. I hear you. I hear you. And so now people are in a position. You got to wake up to community. That's where we are. So I'm glad y'all came on, and with y'all sophisticated selves, y'all upstanding women in society. I'm proud of you, doing wonderful things. So see y'all next week, huh?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for everybody that's listening. Oh, let's remember that these are coaches. We got, Nye is a wellness coach. And Ashley, she does business coaching. And I'm a coach as well. So, we're not studying life just to be a part of the program, and we're here to break it. That's what this is about. Our children need better than what they've gotten. We deserve better than what we received. And the only way that you're going to get that is to keep on talking. Keep on talking. Is it about fame? Nope. Fame don't get you no fortune. The part of fortune is respect. Respect yourself. And so, okay, you guys be blessed. I'll see y'all next week. I'll talk to y'all Tuesday.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.